good afternoon from Atlanta, Georgia. Now, I've had an amazing time in this city and I think that it is very underrated, but it's time to leave. And what I'm gonna do today is take a Greyhound bus. So I'm gonna try out the Greyhound bus system, and if you don't know Greyhound, they have bus routes all over the United States, so you can basically go anywhere. And what I'm doing is I'm gonna take a night bus from here, Atlanta, all the way down to New Orleans, Louisiana. Now, to be honest, I'm not really looking forward to this because I haven't heard any good things about Greyhound. Everybody told me that it's terrible, and the reviews online are also terrible. But my expectations are very low, so I'm just asking myself, how bad can it really be? Well, come and join me as we find out. The journey began with an Uber ride from my Airbnb to Atlanta bus station. The bus station is located in a very rough part of downtown Atlanta, and it's here where I got my first glimpse of what Greyhound bus stations are like. I didn't film much inside the bus station because there were a lot of agitated people. In some way, most people were just acting out, and they were arguing with security and Greyhound staff. On a positive note, the check-in process was smooth and our bus was on time. Our journey today will take us all the way from Atlanta, Georgia to New Orleans, Louisiana. On the way, we'll be stopping in places like Montgomery, Alabama, Mobile, Alabama, and Biloxi, Mississippi. So in total, we'll drive across 4 states. The bus itself will then continue to Houston, Texas.
Bus from Mobile servicing Biloxi, Mississippi, Slidell, Louisiana, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Beaumont, Texas, and downtown Houston. I'd like to remind you all that federal regulation prohibits all smoking while you're on board the bus, and this also includes e-cigarettes. Any type of listening device that you brought on board the bus with, you have to use your headphones or earplugs. It's also Greyhound policy, folks, to bring cell phones on. If you have a cell phone on board the bus with you, go ahead and place your cell phones on silent or vibrate.
Now inside the Greyhound, and I have to say this bus station was an absolute hellhole. Now we are going to go from Atlanta to New Orleans, and this bus continues all the way to Houston, Texas. So let's see what the journey will be like. Greyhound seats aren't the most comfortable places to sit in, and they are especially not that comfortable to sleep in, but at least you got plugs, and the Wi-Fi was working for most of our trip. So yeah, we have done the first leg of our journey. We are now in Columbus, Georgia, right on the border with Alabama. We are then crossing Alabama, going through Mississippi to Louisiana. And that's the cool thing about Greyhound, is that you get to places where you would never go. I mean, I had never even heard of Columbus, Georgia, where we are right now. And you know, this is just a gas station, and we are stopping here for about 15 minutes, so you have time to go to the bathroom and stuff. And I have to say, this journey wasn't so bad until now. I mean, we've only been on the bus for like 2 hours, so it might get much worse, I don't know. And yeah, the bus is relatively comfortable and relatively empty. Now I have to say, the bus station in Atlanta, that was something else. I mean, I didn't film much in there because of the people that were there. The station was very dirty, and the worst thing was the people. I mean, seriously, the kind of characters you see in those bus stations, I mean, you gotta be ready for that. But yeah, I'm now just gonna go get something from this gas station, and then we'll continue the journey. So, see you then. We drove on through the night, and at around 1:30 a.m. we arrived in Montgomery, the state capital of Alabama. To say the least, this was another interesting bus station.
bus will be cleaned and serviced here in Mobile, so we're going to ask everyone to go ahead and step off, take about a 40-minute rest stop. And this bus is scheduled to leave Mobile at 2:40 a.m.
I didn't get much sleep because the bus stops every 1 or 2 hours, and every time it stops, they put on the lights and announce all the destinations. Greyhound buses aren't that comfortable, especially if you want to sleep in them, but we got to New Orleans on time at around 6 a.m. And that was the most important thing for me on this journey.
Someone will be arriving here downtown New Orleans, Louisiana. Someone will be arriving here downtown New Orleans.
Now I've made it to my hotel room here in New Orleans, Louisiana. And yeah, what can I say about Greyhound? So first and foremost, I should say that Greyhound is the cheapest way to get across the United States. I paid just about $50 for a journey from Atlanta to New Orleans, and it was about a 10-hour journey. And if you wanted to take a plane on that route, you would pay at least double, plus the money you have to pay to get to the airport by Uber or taxi or whatever. And yeah, so it's a very cheap way to get across the United States. That's one of the positives. And to be honest, I was extremely lucky. I realized that because all the things that I had heard about Greyhound didn't really apply that much today. First of all, every single stop was made on time. And we got here just about half an hour later than what was written on the ticket, which for Greyhound standards is absolutely nothing. So yeah, that's one positive. Then another positive I have to say is the drivers. Even though they weren't the friendliest people on earth, they were very professional, and I can really understand why they aren't that friendly, because the kinds of passengers that they have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, I mean, I would probably go completely crazy. Because now I'm getting to the big negatives of the Greyhound. First and foremost, the Greyhound people. I mean, the passengers, I really don't know where these people come from, but what I can say that if you want to say it in a funny way, there are some interesting characters there. I mean, there are people that you usually don't see, but you see them on Greyhound buses. And if you want to say it in a more negative manner, then you could say Greyhound bus stations, they are really like mental hospitals. I mean, I have never seen that many crazy people in one building, except for maybe a mental hospital. But yeah, that's Greyhound bus stations. And, most of them are completely harmless, but there are quite a few people there that really make it feel unsafe. But even though I didn't really feel unsafe, I just felt uncomfortable most of the time. So I think the passengers are the biggest negative of taking a Greyhound bus. And then, well, the bus itself isn't that great either. I mean, I slept for probably around 1 hour out of the 10 hours that we were on the bus, because, the bus stops every hour and then they put on all the lights and they say the destination, and it's very hard to get some sleep in. But yeah, I mean, that's just how it is. And for that price, you're not really going to complain. I should just say that I've taken buses in a lot of countries. Mexico, Brazil, Chile, and they're all much better than Greyhound. I mean, seriously, especially the bus stations in the US, it's just an absolute disaster. But yeah, so I'm quite happy that I tried Greyhound and that I now know what it's like and that I actually have my own opinion on it. And would I do it again? Maybe if, the price difference is really high with the flights. But yeah, I think those are my conclusions on Greyhound. And yeah, thanks very much for watching and see you next time. Goodbye.